some of you aren't convinced yet. At least half of you are convinced that this may not be for me, because you know you're never going to turn into a hard prick. And if you could look at your faces like I'm looking at your faces. So the hope is that, well, maybe enough of this shit can rub off on me that I can still make a lot of money and not change my personality. And that's wrong. And I would be a disingenuous, lying asshole if I told you. That's so wrong on the face of it, it's not possible. So I don't give out bullshit. I give out accurate information even if it hurts. And you're just the opposite. You would shade. You would twist the facts to make you look as good as possible, just as your mother and father did. And look where that got you. And I will say at least 25 to 50 times during this week, well, that sounds fine, but how has your program worked out so far? Because the model does work. The irony of all this is the fucking thing works. At Valentine's Day and Christmas and Hanukkah, they have sales. All the guys have sales. 50% off. What was it worth the day before the sale? Yeah, I mean, that's it. All the rest is bullshit. Plan for the worst and hope for the best. All our planning is we plan for the best. We expect the best out of you as a human being. We expect you to be honest, but we plan for the fucking worst because you're not honest. And when push comes to fucking shove, you will lie, cheat, and even steal and sometimes kill to get your way. And I know that. Having lived 3/4 of a century, we have 3 million pores, and I've said this a zillion times on YouTube, 3 million pores in our body. I've been fucked in every one of them at least twice. Your chairman need to step into the breach when you're at a meeting, and this is why you don't have board meetings before we're gonna do a deal, and we'll talk about that later, and they say, well, it's obvious that Vanessa brings no value here. This is your industry expert. And if it's a Mexican, for sure, cut your fucking tits off, for sure. She brings no value. And that's when your chairman's supposed to step into the breach and say, if it wasn't for this slag, bitch, we wouldn't be here. So let's move on to the next point on the agenda. That's what they're supposed to do, but they rarely do if you pick the wrong person. And then it's through. They're wiping their hands like Pontius Pilate did, and you're fucked. And it happens weekly, even to old gits. And I always get my rocks off when an old git gets thrown out, because an old git ought to have lived long enough to know he's gonna get fucked. But hope springs eternal, kids. Duh. Now, for those of you that have followed me any length of time, you know I've never been into shaking hands, hugging, kissing. I'm not into that shit. Unless you've got big tits and you're on your back, don't touch me. That's it. I've been saying that 27 and a half years. And now all my birthdays have come at once with Corona. I hope we stay like this the rest of my life. Because I don't like you. I don't want to touch you. I don't want to be your friends. There's a reason I don't eat breakfast with you. There's a reason why I don't eat lunch with you. And I don't even want to have dinner with you. Sally makes me. I like eating by myself. This is me because I don't give a fuck what you think of me. I don't give a fuck what you say about me. Nothing. And I even say, if you like me, I didn't do my fucking job. That is at this end of the continuum. Now we'll go to your end of the continuum. You're a little short Vietnamese Asian woman that has taken shit about being Vietnamese all your life. About being Asian. Gook, slant eye, slope, all the bullshit, right? Filipinos. We get some pretend Why anybody would pretend to be a Filipino and come here? I don't understand. I don't. Fuck. Because the Filipinos, unfortunately, are at the lower end. From the Chinese down, they look, anyway. So she has got this with not just her generation, her mother's generation. And then, of course, when you throw the Vietnam War in, Ho Chi fucking Minh City, okay? She's got nothing but an uphill battle all her life. Plus she's a midget, dwarf, whatever, all her life. By definition, she has tried to overcome all that. Probably some of it on a conscious level, most of it on a subconscious level. It's like blacks. And I've got black friends, the blacks say, they teach their kids, when you get stopped by the cops, you keep your hands on the steering wheel. It's like the commercial they got, my hands are up, why are you pointing a gun at me? I didn't go through any of that. But any black guy that's got kids, depending where you live, you've taught your kids, so you don't want to get shot getting out of a car because he had a speeding ticket. That is inherent in you. So you try to overcome that. When you call somebody on the phone, is this a good time? If you do that to me, I hang up. First of all, I don't take calls. I've got 3 or 4 or 5 people that filter the calls. So by the time you actually hear my voice, somebody's already screened you at least twice. You, on every level of your being, would rather be liked than hated. And that's the difference between Steve Jobs and you, and Dan Peña and you, and Warren Buffett and you. Because you're inundated with the why. Well, why doesn't he like me? Why doesn't he like you? Because you got a flabby ass. The point is he doesn't fucking like you. Don't you get it? You're a bad fuck. But if you follow the steps, people aren't going to like it, dear. You're going to wish for them to call you a fucking slow-paid fucking Vietnamese piece of shit again. Good-looking guys make more money than ugly guys. Not little midget dwarfs like, most of you guys in this room, a stiff wind and a good fuck could kill you. You can still get rich. But I mean, one of my stars is 7'1". He won't even talk to you. I mean, he walks in the room, he looks like a fucking Adonis. He looks like a Greek fucking god. None of you fall into that category. Women have it easier. The trouble with the gals is they, not because they can't do it, it's because they fall in love or some shit like that. Or they want to have a kid. Love and kids bring the gals down. That's why we don't have more on the Hall of Fame. So I tell all the girls, keep your fucking legs, and you can't talk to women like that. Keep your fucking legs together, sweeties. Get a fucking vibrator. You can't talk to people like that anymore. I do, I don't give a fuck. What are you gonna do to me? Sue me, sluts. See, no, you're gonna learn that at Ty Lopez. You're not gonna learn that at Tony Robbins, are you? It's the fucking truth. I know why. And we used to teach, I used to single out and tell you why, and it still doesn't make any fucking difference. Because DNA is DNA. Is everybody under fuck DNA, understand DNA? You can't help it. Just like the Germans. You can't help it. But you can still make a lot of money. But you've sucked them into the vortex with a free founder's equity. So there is a downside to giving away free stock. You may not get 100% candor in their response to you as a professional. Everybody understand that? So the way he described the deal initially was wrong. But I've gotten so tired of correcting everybody because nobody knows what they're doing. But see, you don't believe me. I have never seen a part-time high-performance person. Never. I'm 75 years old. I've never seen a part-time high-performance person. Never. Because you're led to believe that you can be real good at stuff and not be full-time. That's bullshit. And your back's not against the wall because you've got a plan B. And that's a mistake. The shit that's out is unbelievable. And even he can do it, a dipshit lawyer. I got another lawyer that stopped practicing law who's rolling up mobile home parks. I got another lawyer who stopped practicing law who's rolling up crematoriums and cemeteries. Now you all think everybody loves practicing law? Well, that ain't true. That ain't true, Joe. You think that all doctors like practicing medicine? That ain't true either. Well, I mean, he was embarrassed. He had nothing to do with luck. He was shamed. Shamed. Because a little insipid weasel did deals. But success leaves clues. And the fact that you guys will think it's sacrifices means you won't do it. Or you won't do it to your fullest. How many of you have kids in the room? You're not supposed to have a favorite kid. Because you always tell your kids they're all the same. And then you lie to them. Because everybody's got a favorite. If you got more than one. I take your favorite kid, whoever the little piece of shit is, and we set it in this chair right here, and I take a gun, and I cock it back, hammer, and I put it right to their ear. And I say, listen, asshole, you got 72 hours to do such and such. I'm gonna paint the fucking screen with her brains, and mean it. Your decision-making process changes completely. Unless you think you're tough enough to take the gun away, but that'd be a big mistake for anybody in this room. But completely. You'd either melt and say, well, fuck, I love the kid, but I can't do it. But even the most feeble parent in the room would make some sort of attempt to satisfy my psychopathic request rather than me paint the screen with their brains. Is that a fair statement? Well, so I can see a lot of you just let me blow their brains out. Unless you act like that, you're gonna fail at this. It's that simple. You're gonna fail. I said, if I'm the best we got, we're fucked. That's what I said. I still say it today. Oh, fuck right. Full transparency. They couldn't relate because I was a classic fuck up in high school. Between our 9th, 10th, and 11th pitcher of beer, Walt Wojak, who was an intellect, said, Martin Luther King just marched. I got a dream. We got our own fucking rights. They can't not allow us to go through graduation. A couple more pitchers of beer. Yeah. So we rolled back to school. We kicked in the door of the boys' rights, kicked it in, threw the diplomas in his face, and said, we got fucking rights. We're gonna do whatever the fuck we want. And I said, and I'm gonna burn this motherfucking school to the ground. That's the kind of student I was. So when I'm on the front page of the LA Times as the richest fucker, supposedly, something's wrong here. He must have done it with drugs, something's not right here. I've been disappointing my naysayers for a long, long time. I don't give a fuck. But when I told the reporter, I said, I would rather be dead than poor. No question. Sally says the same thing. We'll do like Himmler did in the bunker. I'll put a cap on her head, and I'll take a pill and then put a cap on my head. I've been rich and I've been poor, and there's no motherfucking comparison. I is rich, and I'm never gonna be poor again. That ain't gonna happen. As far as everybody, to me, in this room's poor. There's a few degrees of poorness, but I mean, still poor. You know, as Joe Rogan called it, fuck you money, that I'm aware of, unless you lied by a factor of 100 or something on your fucking, the numbers you gave me. Now that's the epitome of chicken shitness to me. Seller's equity, and they won't understand what seller's equity is, and then you'll explain to them it's seller's finance, and then they understand that. And you may even have to go as rudimentary as house flipping. And these are guys that have been in the business world 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and they still won't understand because they've never done it. 99% of your board members will have never done a deal that somebody didn't put fucking equity in. And so now they're gonna listen to a little skinny shit like him. Fuck, next. And unless you, now I don't expect you to sell like I'm selling, but unless you sound off like you had a pair, they're gonna just say, fuck you. Why is this guy or this guy or this guy all of a sudden going to be my fucking savior? The answer is yes, but you got to prove it to them. Although I get people emails all the time. I've read every single thing you've ever produced, which is a lie. Normally from an Asian, normally from India, because I know they haven't. But even if you have, there are nuances. But we've still got billionaires that I've never met because the system is so overwhelmingly powerful. If you use it, even without the nuances, the glue to stick the dots together, it works. And it's based on a motivated seller. The kid on that side of the webinar said, could you say that again? I couldn't hear you. Every single question. Why is that? What the fuck? I've never been asked to repeat a question in my entire fucking life. Never. The first thing they tell you in the middle, sound off like I had a pair, Peña, you fucking Mexican wetback. That's what they used to say to me in the military. And ever since then, I've been well, I sounded off like I had a pair before because of my dad. If my dad couldn't hear me, bam! Are you a man or a mouse? Bam! My training with the Onassis people, first offer's got to be fucking insulting. That's the first offer. That's where we start, insulting. I want to piss you off. It's like when you buy carpets from Egyptians. 92 billion knits, and it takes 7,000 years, and we went $8 million for it. And they made it on a machine for $20 in the back room. And I'll give you $5. Take it or leave it, $5. And they chase you down the street. You're gonna hear Dr. Joe, my orthopedic vascular surgeon, not orthopedic, vascular surgeon. He's from that part of the world. So, I mean, he's got it in his blood to insult somebody. I mean, the guy wanted $4 million, I'll give you 50 grand. Okay, 70 grand, take it or leave it. But see, you laugh, but you won't do that. Somebody on your board better be able to do it. I'll come with the lawyers and I'll come with the money. Let's get them. I was, boom. I was like an atomic bomb went off in front of me. I couldn't believe it that the kid said no. Because normally you don't fight because you don't have the money. I still remember him saying, as he walked away from me with his tail between his legs, I don't have the stomach for it, Mr. P. I'm sorry to disappoint you. I just can't do it. Are you fucking kidding me? I've never offered to put up all the money again. You have 2 times to make a first impression. How you look, and when you open your big fucking mouth. Before you stick your foot in it. In the whole room, there's 1.5 individuals out of 20 that has some reasonable communication skills. The rest of you don't. I'm not telling you that it's scary so you don't open your mouth. And you join Toastmasters, and you join improv, and you practice, and then practice some more, and then practice, because you couldn't give away a blowjob to a drunken sailor. None of you. Your communication suck. And a few of you, it's worse than suck. But it doesn't have to stay that way. I got a D in public speaking in high school. I got an F in public speaking in university. F. But then I made over 200 speeches. They threw plates at me to get me off the stage. They threw rolls and shit at me. They don't know you're more afraid than they are. I can smell the fear in here. Am I the only one that can smell the fear in here? I mean, I look at you, pathetic. When I first came to the UK, I said, I'm an American. You can't hurt my feelings. You can piss in my face, just give me the fucking money. That is a direct quote. Nobody that you've ever met in your life would say that. Nobody. And when they asked me, how did you get all this fucking money? Because then I repeated just what I repeated. I didn't give a fuck what, as long as I got the fucking money. Sally calls me rhino skin. You can't hurt my fucking feelings. Because growing up in the hood, my dad told me, he says, it's not what they say to you, Dan, it's how you interpret the words. And it's stuck. It used to be sticks and stones. Remember I said sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me? It's just the opposite now. It's the words that hurt people's feelings. People commit suicide on Facebook because of words. Don't you see how wrong that is? Well, I blame the parents. I fucking hang the parents of both sets of kids. Both the kid that did it and the kid that killed himself. Well, if one of my kids, I'd be in prison for murder. Because I would have killed every motherfucker in that family. I want to make sure that that DNA never went past that asshole. Literally. A kid hanging himself because of Facebook. Am I the only one in the room that said how wrong that is? Where's our culture gone? It's gone in the motherfucking shitter. You may kind of believe it, but you're not willing to take the emotional risk to put your dick out on the line. Because when you're wrong, and your mother, and your sister, and your wife, and your father, and your girlfriend say, I told you, you piece of shit. I told you were worthless since you were 9 years old. And you fulfilled my expectations of being a piece of shit. And that's why you don't fucking do it. Because even if it was unspoken, you know what they think of you. You know what they fucking think of you. Hence, you don't do it. Or you do it in some half-assed way that you want to self-sabotage and step on your dick. That's why I would rather have you, all the board members, tough. There's a lot of tough old bastards out there, and gals too. But you got to find them. And when she was talking about cultures, she was trying to be politically correct. Most foreign ethnicities are thieves. It's just like, it's plain and fucking simple. Those of you from those ethnicities, you know I'm fucking right. I'm not bullshitting. Life is stranger than fiction. Sometimes I think the stupidest people are white people. We've had it too easy. And Dan Locke told her, just check the bank balances daily. Now, who do you think Dan Locke heard that from? You go to him, it looks like Ninjaville when you go to see him. All these little fuckers about your size. I can throw you like a fucking spear. Whoa! Pick you up by your skinny neck. Whoa! But you gotta be all in. If you're not all in, you wasted your fucking money. I tell everybody, if you're coming to the seminar, don't start before you're here. I rest my case. Why? It's certainly not because you're smarter than me. If you haven't figured that fucking out, then something is wrong with you. You are retarded. We haven't had anybody smarter than me in this seminar in 27 and a half years. So why do you do it? I want to get ahead. I've heard them all. And then pay to come here to be whipped like a rented mule. Success leaves clues. And who gravitates towards love and religion? Poor people. And Lenin said it best, religion is the opiate of the people. And if they can believe in God on faith, right? Because that's the only way you can, or some higher power, but you can't believe in this. Now, if I wasn't a real human being, well, I'm not so human, but a real person, and I was just like a hologram, and I never really existed, and somebody created me, and artificial intelligence, maybe you'd believe better. But the truth of the matter is, kids, not all of you really want to make money. I've had so many kids come through here say, I want to be a billionaire. As soon as they make $50 million, I never hear from them again. Never. Not a postcard, not a fuck you, nothing. Yet you and the fucking meatheads on YouTube want to know more. Wants to know why. I'm not interested in why. All I know is you're dog shit to me. You're useless because you may cause a deal to get killed. Because you're not serious. And as long as you keep asking why, you'll never take fucking action. And people that take money from you for the various and sundry products and shit, it's criminal. None of the guys know dick. That's a slight exaggeration, but not much of one. You already know more about QLA than you need to be a billionaire. If you really studied the stuff I told you to study before you got here, and there's a reason why I tell you to study the stuff before you get here, you knew enough to be a billionaire before you ever got here. Money wasted. Money wasted here. This is a hell of a close, but it's the truth. And there's a reason why they say the truth hurts. If you walk away from here and it's not for me, high performance isn't for me, I will have saved you so much time, so much money that you ought to suck my ass. Just think, Clark, how much free time you'll have on your hands. Gallup did a poll about 6 or 7 years ago. 40% of the time on computers, pre-corona, 40% of the time men spend on the computer in their offices, not home offices, but offices they work for, porn. In the office. Remember I told you when I walk down the aisle, if you're closing your computers, I fire you? Why would they close your computers? 40%. I think it's higher than 40%. Can you imagine how much is on porn when they're not in the office and they're at home? I know you're gonna fuck it up. Absolute. 100%. And you failed. And I told you yesterday you're not doing something right. Didn't I? Don't you say yes? It's impossible that this little fucking Chinaman couldn't he's doing something wrong. If you can't find a chairman with LinkedIn, you ought to blow your fucking brains out. We give you tools that work. You shouldn't have gone out and got a chairman because you all did it wrong. Guess what? I've never had anybody do it right that did it before they came to the seminar. Never. How is that possible? You need the extra juice between what's online. Not have a board meeting. By the way, that is online, not to have a board meeting. You just didn't look far enough. He read it. He's no Einstein, and he's certainly not Sam Walton. Why did he still do it? Anybody? Why did he still do it? No, even though he read not to do it. Self-sabotage. Yes, thank you. Self-sabotage, you fucking old git. Most of you have lived your whole fucking lives on a path of self-sabotaging. And down deep inside in the core in your being, you know why. They're so used to engaging in self-sabotaging activity. Now, you're gonna get back, for those of you that have kids, within a week, kids is gonna engage in self-sabotaging activities. And you're gonna see it as that. And if you don't make the correction right there and fucking then, you learn nothing. And the kid's gonna cry. And your wife is gonna cry. Because if you don't put this shit into action right away, now to me, that's not stepping into the breach of anything. But when you decide to correct either your significant other or your children, you'll think, forget the speed bump outside, motherfucking Mount Everest. Don't waste time on things you can't change. You can't change your parents. Don't waste time on that. But of the 10 or 12 questions you ask, you only have to move 3 or 4 words around. It's the same question. What single thing is that? You only have to move 3 words. 10 questions. Is everybody, am I the only one that is hearing that? Same fucking question, move 3 words. And down deep inside, you still want to know why. I thought that's a load of shit. And maybe I am, maybe because it's my age. Maybe I'm one of the last few that knows about all this shit. Because, the Clark Kent over here, he's not Googling that shit. The only real why is why are we so fucked up? That's the only why that requires an answer. You will never exceed your most highest expectation. You want to make 10 million, you make 10 million in $2. You will never exceed your highest expectation. And although my parents were telling me, keep your head down, all the things that I've told you, right? And our only goal for Danny is to keep him alive until he reaches the age of reason, yada, yada. I didn't care. I'm the greatest. I'm the fucking greatest. Here I am, 58 years later, and nothing's changed. Except, as Dr. Shirley Teeter said, Danny's accomplishments caught up with his big fucking mouth. Maybe that's all true, I don't know. But it doesn't make a shit, see? That's the why. Okay, back to Carnegie. He was a less than reputable guy. If I got anointed by the Queen, which I did, with all I say, and Andrew Carnegie didn't even get a fucking knighthood, with all I say and all I do, fuck, he must have done some bad shit. 9/11, when they had added additional security at the airports, right? We all thought it was a pain in the ass, right? We all were hoping it was gonna go away. Didn't go away, did it? If anything, it's worse now than it was then. The same with Corona. Don't need me or don't bother. This is it. You know, like Pontius Pilate did to Christ? Adios, motherfuckers. Now, you're not talking to me. This is it, sweetheart. Good luck, good fortune, good hunting, and good whatever else. If I never see you again, it'll be too soon. Sally didn't make me come to dinner. The staff all know I'm telling the truth. Didn't make me, I wouldn't be here. But she says it's the right thing to do. It's the PC thing to do is what the fuck it is. That's what it really is. But she knows if she told me that, then I wouldn't come. Now, YouTube, we're gonna turn off the thing now. I don't wanna leave you out, but we're gonna leave you out. Because now the real shit is gonna be discussed. The difference between men and boys, women and little girls, and you're not gonna hear it. Bye-bye.